This is Bill Kimler, co-host of the Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast. This Halloween, stand out from the crowd with ZJZDesigns.com. Their brand new limited edition spooky prints are here to haunt your wardrobe in the best way possible. With 5 new chilling designs, you'll be ready for trick-or-treating, haunted houses, and everything this spooky season has to offer. Whether you're getting festive for the holidays or just looking for unique, high-quality designs to up your style game, ZJZDesigns.com has you covered. Shop now at ZJZDesigns.com and discover the t-shirts that'll make you stand out in any season. Don't get caught without the coolest Halloween t-shirt. Grab yours before they disappear. ZJZDesigns.com.
Morning, everyone. It's the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King. Follow me on all of social media at Barrett Gruber. This is Bill Kimler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. Follow him at Political Bill SC. It is a Tuesday morning, September the 9th.
Good morning, Barrett.
How are you?
Super fantastic.
How was your weekend?
Too short. Far too short. But I had fun doing some podcast editing. We have a special episode releasing tomorrow.
Okay.
We normally release bi-weekly, but the last episode we recorded so long, we broke it up into 2 parts. And I had fun finishing the editing of the video. If there's a time to watch our YouTube feed, tomorrow's the day. We did an exercise in AI that blew Jamil's mind, and you have to see her reactions. I mean, the facial reactions are worth watching it on YouTube tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I assumed that based on what you told us last week, that AI and its impact, or I guess you were doing a show and tell, and it sounds like
we did a live demo, and it didn't quite go as expected. I'll leave it at that.
That's frightening.
It indeed. It caused Jamil to get up and walk away.
I can concur. I can concur that the weekend was absolutely way too short, because it was the first weekend in, I don't know, almost a month and a half, 2 months, where I didn't have at least 3 days off.
Yeah.
It took its toll. Not having all of that rest availability.
And also your beloved Falcons tanking in that game. It was a close game, I think, between them and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that was honestly, it was rough to watch. It was also rough knowing that Villardo, who was on his way to Phoenix at the time, who we have a standing bet with, or I have a standing bet with, was also watching the game, paid for Wi-Fi, or was provided Wi-Fi on the plane so that he could watch the game, and knowing that he was cheering right along with his Bucks was probably the most hurtful. It was a close game. I didn't like some of the play calling on the Falcon side, because you've got Algier, who
remind me, who is the QB for the Falcons now?
That is Michael Penix Jr. He is this was his 4th start in NFL. He was a number 4 overall pick, I think, 2 years ago.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins is the backup quarterback, the veteran, sort of sitting on the side. So, I have a lot of faith in Penix. I think he's going to be really good. He's got a strong arm. I think he needs to learn how to feather it a little bit. He throws a little strong. But, this is basically his rookie season. And I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about football. I just know what I know. And disappointingly, I know the Falcons lost on Sunday. So,
well, as a undefeated Philadelphia Eagles fan, I really enjoyed their game against the Cowboys Thursday night in what we call the Hawk Tua Bowl.
Yeah.
And that was a bizarre game to watch.
Thursday night games usually are a little odd, but I get that the Eagles, I get that the Eagles and the Cowboys have like just an absolute distaste for each other. It's a very strong rivalry between the two of them. But it didn't occur to me that somebody would walk out there and just spit on another player. Those are the things I don't think about happening, and then they do, and it's like gross. Like I can't get over how disgusting. I never want to be spat on. I get that's one of the things that, like, when Donald Trump said that if these protesters spit on the police, that whatever extreme measures they could take against somebody spitting on them, like that one I kind of get, because I do not ever want to be spat on. I don't want to spit on somebody else.
What Jalen Carter should have done was pull out a deli sandwich and chuck it at Dak Prescott. That would have been acceptable. A little ham and rye on the face.
That would have been acceptable. Real quick reminder, tomorrow night, Soul House Sessions with Priest Jacob, September 10th at the Koger Center for the Arts. Doors open at 5. The conversation starts at 6. This time around, his guest is Chef Amethyst Ganaway. Artwork is going to be displayed by Dogon Krigga, and vinyl, of course, is going to be spun by Priest Jacobs. There are tickets available at Eventbrite, or you can check the show notes at Priest Jacobs as well on Instagram.
How come you never announce the events I'm hosting? It seems like you play favoritism.
You got to give me a list of them. That's what I need.
I actually need to hold events? Is that the problem here?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. No, I feel like you're suppressing my speech. I think that's the problem.
You know what? Anyone is welcome. Anyone is welcome. I did see that the Democrats did finally announce that there is a candidate for the District 88 here in Lexington, West Columbia, South Carolina.
Or, as you used to be known, Sax Goth.
Is that really what it used to be known?
Well, I sent you the map. I thought you would at least zoomed in on the map to take a look.
You know what? Here's the worst part. I'm going to pull up my text messages real quick, because now I'm thinking maybe I didn't actually get the map. Let me see.
Oh.
So here's the thing. You asked me the question if I knew what my county used to be called, and there was never a follow-up. So I never got a map.
Oh, I got to show you what I know. I actually sent you a picture of the map I took a picture of out of the history book.
So it used to be called Sax Goth.
So in the 1800s, there was a map of the counties in South Carolina, and there were only 26 counties at the time. And Lexington County was known as Sax Goth. Saxegoth. I thought that was a much cooler name than Lexington. That's a shame. I'll try to resend that picture to you later. I did not realize that you didn't get that. I thought you saw the map and went, "Oh, there's the answer."
Nope. No, I got several things from you. We chatted a little bit over the weekend. But the only there isn't a picture of a map.
Okay.
No, that didn't come across.
Tell me about this new representative or new candidate for House.
I can't tell you much about him. I don't know. He's an older gentleman.
And this is to replace the R.J. May seat?
Yeah. So
I knew there was a Republican candidate who had announced. I did not realize that there was a Democrat candidate who announced.
Yeah, the Republican candidate's the same guy that tried to mount a write-in campaign against R.J. May last year. Didn't
you attempt one?
Did I? No.
I thought you attempted a write-in campaign
for the state Senate seat.
Okay. It's hard to keep up with your wheelings and dealings, Barrett. You're just all over the place.
I can't deny that. Although I would like them to slow down considerably enough that I could pretend like a 2-day weekend is a 3-day weekend. But I'm trying to pull up the details on him, but Instagram is not playing along very well. I can just tell you he's an older gentleman that I can't even remember his name. You know what? For Thursday, I'll have that information. But it seemed like it was kind of a slow rollout, very kind of a quiet rollout, and I think that it probably would have required a little bit more pomp and circumstance, but I don't know. This isn't my campaign.
Speaking of rollout, we have, as far as a statewide position, one of the more controversial spots that will be up for election is the, what do you call it? The superintendent of education across the state, currently occupied by Ellen Weaver. And we had a rollout last week of 2 different Democratic candidates for that seat. One is Sylvia Wright, and frankly, she was running the day after the last election. She's been running, as far as I can tell, since 2024. Right after November, and she's been in every county of the state. She's been to Greenwood. She's been everywhere, and she's been gaining some traction. And then also last week, Lisa Ellis, who ran the first time against Ellen Weaver, announced that she is running again after 4 years, or I guess 3 years of quietness. She went underground like a cicada, and then
or I can interpret it. She went to work. She just went and did her job.
True, but that's what it is. It's going underground. Yeah. It's basically hiding from the limelight and not having any public presence.
Yeah, you're not, and you're not the first person I've heard say that, and not say it in that way, that it made it seem like, well, she just disappeared. Not that that's what you're inferring, but there are people that have said those things, and it seemed like they were using it against her to make it seem like, well, she lost, so she's just going to turn her back. And it's like, or hold on, she's a teacher, and teachers work. So,
no, to me, she just went quiet. And if you do not intend to run for office again and you want to stay out of the public light, great. I respect that decision. You're a private citizen. You deserve a private life. But to go quiet for 3 years after what Ellen Weaver has been doing, all the policy she's pushed through, her adoption of PragerU's freaking dumb program for our state schools, and she's remained silent on that in an online form. Now, I get taking some months off to recharge. You're absolutely entitled to that. That election was 2022 for the state superintendent. It was tough, and so you take a few months, you recharge. But why go silent for 3 years then with no public persona? Okay, you went back to teaching. That's fine. You're entitled to that. But now you want to run for superintendent again. That I have a hard time swallowing. It's either you're passionate about that or you're not. And I did not feel like she's got the passion for it. And I don't know what's prompted this run again if you feel like you've been silent. And even in her announcement, she listed really nothing about what current policies that, we've been damaged by this current superintendent. She's not really even mentioned her. And so I really want somebody who's a fighter. And I think Sylvia is the better of the 2 choices. Again, my opinion. And of course, when it comes to the actual election, I'm going to vote for whoever's running against Ellen Weaver.
Yeah.
But in this case, I respect more the woman who's been hustling out there for over a year now.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I do. If you want to have an impact and potentially be the candidate that is going to move on, because last time around, Lisa was on the Democratic ballot, but she was also on another ballot. It was the
Workers' Party.
Yeah, the Workers' Party, which, I don't know how the nominating process works for the Workers' Party, but I feel like they potentially have one, or you're just the one. But I think that to make an impact, you have to do what Sylvia's been doing, and she's been literally traversing the state for 3 years almost, just speaking in different school districts and town halls and things like that. And she's made her presence known. So, it does seem as though Sylvia does seem to have the heart to run against the dumbest doornail I've ever seen in my entire life. But,
I've also advised Sylvia not to go on your show because I know that's a death knell.
That is the death knell. That is with a capital K. There was I saw a video and checked into it a little bit.
What, more bags being tossed out of the White House window? What video are you referring to?
It does have something to do with the White House a little bit. The last week our president announced that, or there was an announcement that the United States military had moved into the seas of Venezuela, and that there had been an attack on what they called as a drug cartel shipment moving from Venezuela to the United States. Turns out that wasn't the case. Absolutely wasn't true. It was not a drug boat. From the video that was shown, and it was on TikTok, but it was the release of this video.
This was Pete Hegseth releasing the video. This wasn't some other TikToker releasing it. This was our own government released the video.
It did not strike me as a boat that would be able to make it from the shores of Venezuela to the, I don't know, Miami, or Louisiana, wherever they think that this was going to. So this boat was attacked by the U.S. Navy in technically international waters, and the boat was sank. There were 11 Venezuelan citizens, not drug cartel members, on this boat. According to the Intercept reporter, citing high-level Pentagon officials, this Venezuelan boat was attacked by the U.S. Navy and was not at all carrying drugs that were being smuggled. It was 11 civilian Venezuelans who were just on a boat, and obviously is a violation of international laws and very likely a war crime to use the United States Navy against. See, because that's the thing is when it comes to, our Coast Guard doesn't sink boats that come into U.S. waters with drugs. They take them over. There is a due process to what our military does in efforts to prohibit drugs from entering the country. They don't just sink a boat. And that's what
you do when you're descending into fascism.
Yes.
You do when the U.S. Constitution and the laws and the rules we abide by no longer apply. Then you get to blow up anybody on suspicion now. Suspicion warrants a death sentence. This whole story sounds bizarre. You said it was 11 Venezuelan citizens. I don't know that they've released names or families or anything. The Venezuelan government themselves seem to be rather silent on this, don't they?
There has been pushback from a few of their high level people saying that this was an attack on the people of Venezuela. This was because Venezuela, I don't know what it's like to be a member or part of the Mexican government or the Venezuelan government or the Colombian government, knowing that you have drug cartels that are making and shipping drugs to countries like the United States, and how little effect those governments can have on those groups. The drug cartels in Mexico clearly have a pretty strong grasp on control of what goes on, and the fact that they can continue to get away with manufacturing and shipping, and just the absolute terror that they cause for the people of Mexico, and how little effort how little impact the Mexican government and military has against those cartels. So I recognize that, but it just strikes of the fact that we would traverse into Venezuelan territory and decide that any boat coming out of a slip is now a threat to the United States. Reagan had a war on crime, but this is a different war, or a war on drugs. This is a different war on drugs. The war on drugs here
just seems to me that there should have been a larger international outcry.
And there should be. I don't disagree. I don't understand how this all goes down, and there isn't, unless you see these officials from other countries coming into the White House, and you saw the Polish leader sit there as Donald Trump complained for almost 45 minutes about the fact that there's this hoax of the Epstein files against him, and that was the look the Polish leader gave. He just
the Kash Patel look.
Yeah. Like why even do they have? Is it that they have to play along? Do they have to show up and sit there and listen to Trump do nothing but bitch about how people are so unfair to him?
I bet the European leaders get together on their own and they just try to one up each other on White House stories to tell. They're like, oh, you think that was bad? You should see when I went there. The man had toilet paper hanging out his pants.
He had his dog screaming at me about the fact that I don't wear a suit.
Yeah. Like, that JD Vance, he's so stupid.
JD Vance. If I was president,
I'm sorry, President Vance. We have to start practicing that.
Okay,
it's going to be any day now.
I can't do it. If I was President Trump, I would almost wonder if there wasn't some sort of ongoing threat of potentially trying to take over from JD Vance.
And how quickly have we forgotten that Trump was on death's door for a full week? How quickly we've forgotten that. Now we're back to business as usual, which is, follow the daily red meat that's thrown our way.
Yeah, because there's the constant distraction away from the things that actually have some level of importance to the country, which is grocery prices, gas prices, the economy. The fact that the jobs numbers came out.
Let's talk about gas prices for a second. This is going to be fun. Gas prices are about to drop.
Is that right?
Yeah. The OPEC just announced that they're going to increase output over the next several years and continue to increase output. And what that's going to do is drive American oil producers out of business. We're going to see a plummeting of gas prices. So yay for us. And watch all the Trump supporters like whip that out as a, promises made, promises kept deal. Although Trump had nothing to do with OPEC's decisions. Then you're also going to see American firms completely start to lay off, stop their drilling, stop their oil production. They're not going to have any oil to produce. They will not be able to compete in the market. And it is a strategic move from these OPEC nations to corner the market because they know we're in a weakened state with our economy overall. So the last time we saw gas prices down to like $2 to $1, right? Do you remember when that was? It wasn't that long ago.
COVID.
It was COVID.
Was it COVID?
Because in that case, the demand stopped because the world stopped moving. And when the world stopped moving and nobody was buying fuel, then you started seeing gas prices go down to $1.50. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. And there were people cheering Trump at that time, saying, good job, this is what we wanted. Well, that's about to happen again, but this time because of an economic war that OPEC is declaring. So watch, it's going to happen within a couple of weeks. You're going to see gas prices drop, and this will not be a good gas prices drop. You're going to see an economic impact that'll shudder throughout our entire system.
Yeah, when COVID occurred, one of the big things that we lost was the oil refineries. We had oil refineries that shut down, and because the demand was so low, but we had refineries that shut down that had surplus that could not store all of the oil that was coming in and couldn't refine it fast enough to get it out because as well, there was nowhere to store what was refined. That these refineries they had to start letting people go because they couldn't keep up with the volume, and they shut refineries down all along the Gulf of Mexico, which again never reopened.
Here's the thing about the global economy. I view it as a very complex biological organism, one that's evolved over time with constant, steady changes, that just evolve and adapt and settle in. And there's ups and downs, there's bumps, but eventually, it stabilizes. Then when there is a disruption like COVID, well, that's like the body getting a disease. It's the body getting a COVID itself, and it shuts down and the body can't handle it and it takes a while to recover. So we've recovered. But anytime that you introduce a major disruption, it's going to cause ripple effects across the world body. So COVID was a world disruption. We're going through another world disruption right now with these Trump tariffs. that is sending shocks through international trade. I mean, you've got international companies, postal services, no longer shipping to the United States because they can't afford to, or don't even have the infrastructure to collect taxes on these little shipments that normally wouldn't be covered by these tax rules. Now they're covered, and they're like, we're not shipping. So people's orders overseas, and we're talking about like you and me people, not international companies. You wanted to order something from Temu, no longer available. Order something, a Stein from Eastern Europe, no longer available. These shock waves are now happening. And in addition to the oil markets now going to be impacted, think about our agriculture market here in the United States. You've seen the viral videos of the Arkansas farmers. Like I was reporting on the Arkansas farmers a couple weeks ago because I was there.
Yeah.
And I heard firsthand how the farmers, because of tariffs, are not able to sell their crop. And just like with the oil refineries, their granaries are full. They've got nowhere to sell what they already have stored, and they've got nowhere to put the crop that's coming up. Like they're stuck. And the estimate that I was given was around 75% of those farmers are facing bankruptcy within 12 months.
Yeah.
Because they can't sell, they can't grow, they can't store, they don't have a farm. And it's because of these disruptions, unnecessary disruptions, by the way. There wasn't a problem before. Now there is a problem that was self-inflicted. And the Arkansas farmers, who a lot of people I'm seeing on video TikToks, they don't have a lot of sympathy for the Arkansas farmers. But we have to realize that the Arkansas farmers feed us. So I am concerned, regardless of who they voted for.
Yeah, because essentially what it is that China buys about 60% of the soybean that is grown here in the United States. So it's not just Arkansas, it's Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, all the way into Wisconsin. And so basically and the reason we grow so much soybean is because it's easy to grow, and it was sort of a subsidy to some of the other things that are more difficult to grow. And so growing soybeans, our U.S. government under USAID would buy something like a quarter some quarter of the soybeans, and would take those and literally feed those to children and communities in Africa and in Southern Asia and places like that, where there was it was a place that we could help by providing soybeans. But USAID is done. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So,
have you noticed a general decrease in quality in our food products over the last few months? Or is it just me? Because I regularly buy salad materials. I have my own salads that I like to make. And just lately, I'm talking about the last 3-4 months, the salad's turning a lot faster than it used to. The tomatoes don't retain as long as they used to. There's a bit of flavorlessness in some of the food that I'm eating now. And maybe it's just me, but I don't know.
So like tomatoes and things like that. I grew tomatoes over the summer, thanks to me. But
I grew them or Ami grew them?
So she started them. I watered them and picked them.
Wow.
But yeah, honestly, over the last few years, I've noticed things like salads, even like pre-made salads that are in a bag where all you do is you just mix the ingredients together. So like a Caesar salad. I have noticed that a lot of the time that if that family size bag isn't eaten, there's no point in saving it. It's not going to be any good. But like it does feel like the quality of the food that we have been eating or purchasing here in the United States has not been as good. Ground beef is one of the most expensive things you can get at the grocery store right now. And not that we have to, but we have made the decision that we would go down to whatever the less quality meat is. So just by our choice alone, we are getting like the 90-10 or the 86-14, balance of the meat we buy, and it comes in a tube. It's not fresh ground. It's yesterday ground or 2-week ground or whatever. So just because of the prices, we have chosen to reduce the quality of what it is we purchased just because the cost.
You're now eating pig hooves. That's what you're down to.
Potentially. Hey, I am not above eating horse. I mean, Europe does it. Asia does it. I don't think there's any harm in it. Like, mix in a little horse. Oh, I thought you were trying to make a horse sound.
No, not me.
I guess we'll wrap it up with. Did you get an opportunity to see Donald Trump's birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein that the Democrats released yesterday?
I have seen that.
I feel
to be honest, this is the dumbest thing in the universe.
Yeah,
it's dumb. Like, what is it? First of all, I don't understand what the big hubbub is.
I don't. I kind of don't either.
I mean, this is what's occupying our national news. The guy has raped people. The guy is on a list of child. Okay, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and this is what we're focusing on from years ago. Who cares?
Here's the thing. Yeah, so Trump's denial of it, I think, is partially funny.
True.
When this first came out and they were talking about the fact that Trump doodled a naked woman on a piece of paper, that he had this running dialogue between him and Jeffrey Epstein, which was also really weird.
See, that's a good thing to focus on.
Yeah, I don't care about the image. It's the inner dialogue that he has going on between him and Jeffrey Epstein as this sort of is it a script? Because it is weird. I mean, Donald Trump says, yes, there is. The voiceover says there must be more to life than having everything. So, and then it goes through this weird script. Did Donald Trump write this script? Did he get it from somewhere? I don't understand. Was he an
FBI informant at this point in time, or did that not happen until later? Help me with the timeline.
That's a great question. I don't really think.
Could you take down this pornographic image, please? I'm done looking at this thing. Good Lord. Gonna get us a strike here for awful content.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Johnson is one of. I don't think he's the dumbest Speaker of the House we've ever had, but I think that he's really close. And the fact that without any prompting, I would believe that Donald Trump would have floated the idea that he was an FBI informant before anyone else. But the fact that Mike Johnson comes out, who knows that we are probably on the verge of having 30,000 pages worth of documents released in relation to this Epstein situation, comes out and says, well, not even just spitballing here, Donald Trump was an FBI informant that was this happened after he found out all of what Epstein did. So he
what
had
an amazing pivot the Republican Party has done. I'll tell you what, got to give them credit because they can pivot like a Chinese acrobat. The party has pivoted on their positions regarding sex trafficking and child exploitation. They have pivoted 180 degrees in the other direction. They used to be the party that anybody they didn't like, they accused of being a despicable individual, and now they're forced into a corner to defend their own against these charges. They used to be all about the Epstein conspiracy. Now, they're making up their own conspiracies to help explain things. It's nuts.
If Donald Trump was an FBI informant, the same as Elvis was a honorary member of the FBI, let's see the badge. He had to have gotten a badge and a gun. Show us the badge and the gun.
Wasn't he an honorary police officer, Elvis? Right?
Yeah.
We could pull people over.
He was also an honorary rock and roll star too. All
right, take us out of here, Barrett. Before you try any impersonations, I'm going to save you from yourself.
I don't do an Elvis impersonation. That's it. That's as far as it goes. It's going to wrap it up for today. Big thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can follow me at Barrett Gruber and Bill at Political Bill SC. You can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday morning right here, 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Until this next opportunity to visit with us, stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media, LLC, and is copyright 2025, all rights reserved.